Hi everyone, this is Andre. It's currently 6:10 on a Friday. And for this drawing lesson, there's a bit. Well, we're gonna keep carrying on with the same general ideas, like drawing out basic shapes. But I'd also like to start applying this practice to other sorts of things than just drawing humans and drawing poses. So yeah, we'll try to draw from nature, but because I have to record this video, I actually brought a little example here of a fern that grows here. So we're going to be drawing a bit of that. Uh, but let me put that aside for now. And as I said, just start with some practice basic forms again, just like in the last video. I have a couple of different sharpened pencils here. This one's a bit more of a flat one. So I'm just starting with some sort of a box again, and I'm trying to draw it in perspective so that it's a bit shorter towards the bottom there. I don't know, maybe this could be like a building from some sort of a bird's eye view or something, right? But it's just the general shape again. And as I said, I think this is a practice that you can always jump into, uh, ideally every day, right? So you get these basic shapes kind of drilled into your mind. I think it's really helpful to then start approaching those more complex shapes. Uh, but again, it's just warm up, right? At the end of the day, uh, you warm up before you exercise, just generally, or your muscles or your tendons are gonna get strained, and maybe you're risking injury, right? Well, I guess with drawing, there's not as much of a chance of a of a of an injury. I don't know, maybe I bent my wrist the wrong way, but the warming up part still applies, right? You want to make sure that the pencil's going where you want it to go, and that um, you have kind of control over it in some ways, and you can draw from various different angles. So I'm just going to try to redraw this box again just as practice. Here we go. But, this is just warm up activities. If you have any comments or ideas for what we could focus on in these sketching lessons, I'd invite you to just leave a comment under this video, or you can send me a message. I'll write down my email at the end of the video. Maybe could be a good way to get some topics too. Uh, but yeah, I think the comments should be open under these videos. So any ideas for what techniques you'd like to focus on, or what subjects you'd like to focus on, right? Should we do some lessons on drawing animals and stuff like that? Yeah, if you have any ideas, just leave them in the comments. All right, here I'm kind of going for, I don't know, some more tubes. Maybe I'm trying to do like a very simplified branch of a tree here. That might be useful when we go to drawing that fern. I mean, even though it's not, there's no wood on it, the branching out still applies, right? It's a quite a complex shape, with a lot of repetition. So just getting my hands warmed up might be useful, right? As I said, this doesn't have to take a long time, right? It's kind of just to get your mind started and get your ideas going. I don't even know what I'm drawing here at the end of the day. Um, so yeah, let me shift the paper a bit just so I can bring in the fern again. These plants are really wonderful. I'm not sure, which specific one it is. I try to identify it, but I'm not very good at that sort of stuff. Um, but I think the best thing you can always do is to draw from life, right? I mean, it is always also helpful to draw from reference images, but you're just not able to get the exact 3D perspective like you have here. So, drawing from what you see and what you can feel as well can be very helpful. Engage all of the senses in drawing, instead of trying to figure out with your mind what all these patterns look like. Try to just get that with your hand, right? If you can, of course. This doesn't apply to all situations. But when we're drawing plants like this, I think it can be very helpful to, just start drawing something you see in front of you. And I'd love to see, uh, the various kinds of plants and flowers that you could draw, just drawing from life, right? So I'd love to see those images. But for now, let me just put this aside a bit. Well, actually, let me move it here. Um, and I'm gonna just try to, I'm not gonna draw the whole thing because but I'll just focus on maybe practicing the leaves, right? That might come in handy when I try to draw something like this later, maybe in a background, or if I'm just sketching from life again. So I'm gonna look at this leaf shape here. Let me just adjust the camera a bit so I can move my hand. Um, I'm seeing that it's quite a sharp leaf, right? So I'm gonna start by not really drawing out every individual leaf just now. Let me get kind of the sense for this general line that's coming through. You see it's kind of sharpening towards the end. So I'll try to get the rough shape of this and not necessarily draw out each and every leaf just now. So here I have kind of this middle line going through, and then I know that there's going to be leaves along this side. Maybe there's like, oh, I don't want to actually draw over it, but yeah, now maybe I can get into sort of partitioning it into these smaller leaves. Or I don't know if they're leaves actually. The ferns are quite old, one of the oldest plants that there are on this planet. So they're very fascinating, and you can see that these are very complex patterns that actually repeat up to the smallest ends over here. Before that, it's all partitioned. So uh, sometimes drawing flowers like this, it can definitely be relaxing, at least for me. Just something to get my mind into the right mood for later drawing and stuff like that. Um, Again, I don't think if I just looked at this I could transfer every single detail, or at least it would take me quite a long time. But here it's more about just trying to get an idea of what these complex shapes uh, might look like on the paper, and just practice using that. And you can see I'm actually being quite inaccurate here, but it's all good because it's just a sketch, right? Sketching is more about getting your ideas down rather than doing a perfect finished piece, I think. So, I didn't even draw the shape of the leaf really there. I kind of did more of a rectangle, but I think maybe at this lower size, it might still look quite similar to what we have here, right? Um, so maybe that's how I would draw one branching out from the kind of main stem here, and if I wanted to connect it and then finish the drawing later, I could always go on, draw out all of the other kind of parts of this fern. Yeah, something like that. Drawing nature, I think, can be one of the most rewarding things because you get to learn about the life that surrounds you wherever you go as well. So if you can draw and have fun and also learn while doing it about something or someone, I think that can be one of the great advantages of drawing. Maybe if I then wanted to kind of move this into drawing out a tree, just because I'm kind of thinking about what I might want to draw later. So I'll just do a very rough tree sketch to end of this video, because I don't want to keep it too long, right? So I'm just kind of letting my mind breathe in this moment, and branching out where I feel like I might want to branch out. Right now I'm not looking at a specific tree. Again, for the purposes of drawing from nature, it's always helpful to actually go and look at the thing you want to draw. But Then, when you do that a bunch of times, you can also just come up with what a tree might look like, right? Not just to be able to reproduce a specific tree that you're looking at. Um, and just using that as kind of a creative outlet, trees tend to be quite unique again. You'll see different combinations of branches on each one, and uh, some of them can sustain if wind blows into them. Some of them don't, so they bend over or break, right? So again, there's a lot of individual detail that if you practice drawing from life a lot, you can then kind of use in your drawings as a way to maybe give the drawing a bit more personality. I grabbed this kind of a square pencil that I shaped to have like a flat top. Just to add a bit of the shading here, because I think it is a bit darker, so might be able to add the core shadow with this. I'll switch just so I can get these kind of sharper lines over here. And you can see again, I'm not drawing out the detail at all. I'm just getting a mental image of what a tree like this would look like, and then trying to put the shadow where I think it might lie. Maybe if the light is coming from this direction over here. So that's why I'm doing the core shadow on this side of the trunk, while this side is a bit lighter still. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it like this. It's a sketch again. I don't want to, spend too much time drawing out all of the details, and uh, since it's mainly just an exercise, and again, putting those basic shapes into practice, you can see that the trunk here is sort of like a cylinder, maybe, that then splits off toward the base to have some sort of the roots coming from here, which might be, circular, and then branching out again into different tubes or whatever. But you could kind of go and deconstruct the whole complex image into the smaller shapes first, so you can then so you can get the more detail more accurately later on when you try and uh, accurately draw something in 3 dimensions. All right, I think that's pretty much it for this lesson. Again, it's quite brief. I just wanted to show my sketching process and what I learned from, and I think learning from nature can be super helpful. So yeah, uh, if you do end up drawing some of the plants, flowers, the nature around you, I would absolutely love to see those sketches, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.